Hello, this is Human X. I'm making this video on March the 31st, 2022. In San Diego, a local law was passed in 2019 allowing landlords to raise rent by up to 10% annually. My question is, how many renters can keep up with this kind of rent increase year after year? How many people get a 10% increase in wages or salaries year after year? I wonder why local politicians did not ask this question when they passed the law. The government is hoping to make the affordable housing crisis even worse. On February the 10th, 2022, the U.S. Senate held a hearing to find out how institutional investors are affecting the housing market, especially the affordable housing market. Like with any other hearing, Democrats and Republicans are bickering and passing the buck. Profit-seeking activities of investors in the housing market has created a shortage for both the end-user consumers and investors. This is especially serious with the large-scale onslaught of institutional investors buying up rental properties as a way to get rich quick. After purchase, institutional investors would always increase rent by 17 to 50% and cut down on services for renters. Renters are stuck in a very miserable situation at properties bought by institutional investors. Democrats are seeking to increase budget for the purpose of fixing up public housing in places like New York City and building more public housing around the country. Republicans, however, are seeking to abolish all government involvement and wants free market to take care of housing for Americans. We all know what free market is doing to regular Americans. It creates a lot of homeless people and it makes poor Americans pay for investors to own properties. Should government play a role in housing? No doubt the government should, because housing is a necessity and is price inelastic. Price inelasticity means people do not have the option of not buying something just because the price is too high, which also means that the theory of demand and supply is not applicable for consumers. However, the theory of demand and supply does apply to investors, meaning the investors do still have the option of not investing if they can't afford it. Now the question is, how should government intervene? Right now, according to Republican Senator from Pennsylvania Pat Toomey, government-sponsored enterprise, here referred to as GSE from here onwards, like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, are disrupting the market because investors can also get guaranteed mortgage loans from these GSEs. This is another case of government assistance exacerbating the problem that the government is trying to fix. The result of this is a higher housing cost and a less affordable housing. This is a real problem. It is a no-brainer that GSEs should not be assisting investors to make money. The government should take measures to take this benefit away from investors to start with. Toomey also believes rent control and eviction moratorium are curbing supply of the housing market. He says renters in rent-controlled apartment never want to move out, making it less attractive for investors to invest in rental properties. This is simply not true. These measures are there to protect consumers and to prevent unnecessary disruptions of life. These measures are there to protect consumers and to prevent unnecessary disruptions of life for renters. The real problem is there are too many investors snatching up rental properties for huge profit. By doing so, they are reducing the supply of affordable housing by buying and controlling existing properties and raising rent. Instead of leaving it to free market, the government should make investors, especially institutional investors, to invest only in building new housing units so as to increase total supply. The gold rush by institutional investors is creating a serious problem for consumers. For home buyers and renters, their demand for housing doesn't go away just because the price is too high. In an extremely bullish market, home buyers and renters are like the sitting duck. They have no choice but to be exploited by investors, especially institutional investors, simply because these investors are in a stronger financial position to outbid them for the existing properties on the market. The housing price for both sale and rental has to come down at some stage. Meanwhile, some renters are facing the stark reality of having no place to live because the market has priced them out. Republicans always complain about government intervention. However, in anticipation of the crashing of the housing market, Republicans wish measures could be taken to make the price drop gradually. Apparently, for Republicans, government should not intervene if it is bad for the moneyed class to make easy money, but the government should intervene when it is good for the moneyed class to make easy money. Government is like the gangster for hire, so Republicans can exploit ordinary Americans. All in all, government needs to step up with measures of making affordable housing available for Americans in need. With high inflation and a rising housing market, regular Americans are suffering gravely. Housing is a human right, which is yet to be taken seriously by the U.S. government.